Hello, I'm David Jones, and I thought we'd take a look at the price of oil. Given the fact it's at new highs for the year, just this week, we've seen a really big move over the last few weeks. For those of you who watch the live streams or in the WhatsApp group that I run, you know, I've been long oil for, I think, a couple of weeks now. I was lucky to not get stopped out on the move down to 78, but it's moved an awful long way since then. So I thought, let's take a look at it and see, okay, has this run got further to go and we have to start thinking about $100 a barrel again for US crude, or actually is the move overdone and it's time to sell short? I know what I think, and as usual in this video, we'll go through some of the recent news about oil, what's been driving it, and then we'll jump onto the charts, have a look at things in more detail and see about setting a trade up. Before we get into this, just a couple of words about some of the other things I do. I run a trading course. I've been running it for a few years now. The trading course breaks down into two parts really. There's the medium term approach that I've used for many years, running trades for weeks and months, and there's the shorter term approach, running trades for days and weeks. So both approaches are covered in the course. You get live webinars and all sorts of other stuff as well as part of the course. I also opened up the WhatsApp group a couple of months ago. That seems to be going okay. I've been running it for most of this year anyway for people who've been on the course, but if you'd like to join the WhatsApp group, it's a daily update from me as to what's going on in markets, what am I watching, what am I trading, what levels I think are important, and any questions. You can try it for a month. If you use the code YouTube, you get a 20% discount off the first month. The details are in the description of this video, so you can click through and try it out there. And finally, if you go to my website homepage, there's a newsletter you can sign up for. That's free of charge. Goes out over the weekend. It's again, what markets am I trading? What am I looking at? And what are a trading tip of the week? So it's all on the website. Go there and find out more. Right, let's get into it and look at oil in a bit more detail. So, as I say, where we have been this week on the price of oil, it's come off a little bit since then, but we're at the best levels since November 2022. So it's, what's that, 9-month highs for the price of oil, 9-10-month highs. And we have seen some big moves. If we go back to the end of June to where we are now, we've seen this oil price move up by more than 25% in what's that, a couple of months, 2 months and a week. That is a sizable move for a major commodity like oil. A couple of things have lifted it. This week we had a bit of a surge earlier this week. That was on news that Saudi Arabia and Russia had extended their voluntary cuts to supply. So of course, you know, we see this a lot in the oil price, the idea of a supply-demand imbalance. You know, during COVID we had, if you remember back that far, we had oversupply and we had the price of the May contract, I think it was back then, actually went negative because demand had dropped off. This week with Russia and Saudi Arabia saying they're going to cut back or keep their cuts in place, we saw the price get lifted. And of course, the knock-on effect for this, if we see a continued strong oil price, this is one of the reasons that we've had high inflation over the last 18 months or so. So central banks will not be welcoming a strong oil price. It also does suggest that the oil price isn't too worried at the moment about any threats of a global recession, because of course if economies slow down, typically we see a drop in demand for energies such as oil. So I think it's interesting that while some people are still talking about the worries about a world recession, the price of oil is up by 25% in a couple of months. So I think there's a lot going on here. As always, there's arguments to be a buyer or a seller. I know which side of the fence I sit on. As usual, let's jump on the charts and take a look at things in a bit more detail. Right, let's take a look at this oil price. So we've got a bigger picture view here, going back to the beginning of 2022. We had the run up on the Russian invasion of Ukraine up to around about $130, $132 a barrel. Market sells off, goes back again in June of 2022. And then since then, we've just had this sell-off. And if we bring things up to date, for the year to date, the price of oil looked like that. So these are the highs from, when is it? Early December 2022, around $84 a barrel. And then the market has another go at these highs in April, briefly slips to lows for the year. It's all a bit sideways for oil until the end of August and into this month. So where we're trading now, yesterday we saw US crude trade up to above $88 a barrel. If we step that out, it's the best levels since November of 2022. So I think the interesting thing here is this move of breakout. After this big sideways range we've been in for about 8 or 9 months now, is this the start of a more continued march higher for the price of oil? So if it is, we want to think about buying the dips. If not, if you think, well, actually, this is a false breakout, it could be a good opportunity to go short, because the market's moved to an extreme. So let's just piece things together and take a look at things in a bit more detail. So for me, I'm still leaning towards, in the short term at least, being a buyer of the dips. Let's take a look at some bits and pieces. If we take a look at the 10-day RSI down here, I mean, this is overbought. This has gone overbought late August into this month. The last time it was overbought, or the last sort of chunk of time it was overbought, it went overbought in July, later in July, and into August. But it was only on that third overbought push that we really saw any decent correction in the price of oil. So at the moment, yes, it's overbought. I'd rather buy if the RSI was a bit lower, but the trend is still up, and the trend for me still trumps everything. But perhaps the more cautious will keep an eye on that and think, well, do I really want to be a buyer up here when the market is overbought? If I take a look on the hourlies, some of the levels to look at and an idea for trying to set up the trade. So this is actually a 4-hour chart. So each of these candles represents 4 hours worth of trading. So we have the old previous highs back here around about 85. That was from early August. We've broken out through those. Big support down at 78. So we've seen a big range for oil just in the last couple of weeks or so. We've seen a $10 range for oil. So we've seen the price move about 12% just in the last couple of weeks. So that is a sizable move. And for me, the only question is, well, if I want to be a buyer, where's my stop going to go? And if I was buying, trying to catch the next leg up, then I'd probably be tempted to try and buy a dip back to the low 80s if it happens, with a stop the other side of 78. So that would be my sort of wider stop strategy. I suppose the more aggressive trade here, if you were a buyer, to be a buyer where it's trading now, 86.75, with a stop the other side of 85 somewhere. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to set up an order to buy a pullback, perhaps a few dollars lower than where we are now. Let's just set that up, and then we'll look at trading it from the short side. So those of you who watch the live streams will be familiar with this trading platform. This is the one that I use for the live streams. To find out more about who I trade with and why, go to the website, my website, and there's a page there with a bit more detail on that. So what I'm going to trade. So here's my chart, the US crude oil CFD. It's a 4-hour chart. So what I said I'd like to do is try and buy a pullback. So I'll put an order in to buy at 83, put a stop loss below these old lows. Let's say I go 77 for a stop. Let's set that up. So I put my order in at 83. I'd like to buy just one contract, stop loss in at 77. My risk is $600 on this trade. That's it, I'm ready to go. So I'll place that order and it'll just sit there now. You can see it on my chart. So that's where it is. It's only where the market was trading, as I said, at the end of August. So it's not a massive sell-off to get there. A wider stop to try and take advantage of any big swing higher. Let's see how it works out. Let's jump back on the charts though and see what the options might be if you were thinking about short selling. So if you thought the market had sort of run away from itself and was looking to go short, I mean, for me, I wouldn't be looking to go short because the trend is still up. But the first thing I would think about is, where is my stop going to go? Well, one possible level for a stop, these old highs from November 22, up around $90 a barrel. So about 330 points away from where we are now is perhaps one idea. But for me, with the market making new highs for the year so far yesterday, it's a market that is still strong. I would like to buy the dip. Let's see how it works out. When it comes to possible targets, I suppose if we are gunning for the next big levels, the obvious one is going to be these highs from October 22 through to November 22, around about $94 a barrel. So I do think in the short term, the market is overstretched. So I would much rather buy a dip than just pile in here. The risk is that I miss out if the market explodes higher. I think it is interesting if we get a dip back. 78 we can see is big support on the daily charts. Let's see how it works out. Before we wrap things up, just a reminder to sign up for that WhatsApp group. If you go to my website, davidjonestrading.co.uk, go to subscribe, and you can scroll down and sign up for the WhatsApp group there. You get daily updates. Oil is always updated by me, probably at least 3 times a week. It's a popular market with me. Other markets in there as well. Lots of questions you can ask. If you use the code YouTube, you get 20% discount off the first month. So go to the website. Lots of information about the courses I run, the WhatsApp group, and also what broker I trade with and why. You can click on the broker button and find out a bit more. So all the details will be in the description of this video. But overall, a great trend, particularly over the last few months for oil, breaking out of this sideways trend. Let's see what the rest of the year brings for the oil price. So that's it for me on the oil price. I thought it was worth mentioning just because we have seen highs for the year so far this week. You know, it's a big move in oil. As usual, when I do the live stream at the end of the week, we'll take a look at it in a bit more detail. If you'd like to try the WhatsApp group out, you can try it out for a month. Use the code YouTube for a discount for the first month. You can stick with it. Most people do stick with it. Afterwards, less than the price of a cup of coffee a day, as the marketing line goes. The link and the code is in the description to this video, the link to the website. And of course, if you have any questions, you can contact me direct from the website. But for this one on oil, we'll wrap it up there. We'll see how this order does, see if we get a bit of a sell-off on oil, whether that order gets filled. But you know, for me, it's still a strong market, great trend, perhaps a bit overstretched, but for me, it's still a buy the dip market. Let's see how that works out during September. So until the next time, and the live stream this Friday, good luck with your trading.